Hello, my name is Stanislas Deconinck, and today I'll be talking about combating climate change, but I'll specifically be talking about the impacts, the problems, the causes, and the solutions of this topic. And I'll also explain what we can do to help this issue. I'll first talk about the impact of combating climate change. According to a website called Sustainable Development Goals, on July 14, 2025, named Goal 13, they stated that if left unchecked, climate change will undo a lot of the development progress made over the past years. It can also intensify conflicts over resources and force people to move. The article then explained that currently our planet is already about 1.2 degrees Celsius warmer than it was in the late 1800s, and that emissions continue to rise. To keep global warming to no more than 1.5 Celsius degrees, as called for in the Paris Agreement, the greenhouse gas emission must be cut by almost half by 2030 compared to 2019. Now, I'll talk about the problems and causes that come from climate change. The first problem I'll be talking about, of which is affected in climate change, is modern living. As written in an article by MIT Management on December 27th, 2019, on the 5 greatest challenges to fighting climate change, that it's a tough pill to swallow, but modern conveniences like electricity, transportation, and air conditioning contribute to climate change, and remedies potentially involve significant sacrifice and lifestyle change. MIT management also warned that although we've seen a great strides in reductions in solar costs and batteries for electric vehicles, these are still expensive alternatives. There is no free lunch when it comes to overcoming climate change. The second problem I will be talking about is air pollution causing diseases to people's health. And as an article named Climate Change, Problems and Solutions by Earth.org on August 18th, 2021, they expressed how poor air quality kills people. They stated that in 2016, outdoor air pollution caused an estimated 4.2 million premature deaths. About 90% of them were in low and middle income countries. Also, preliminary studies identified a positive correlation between COVID-19 related mortalities and air pollution. It also stated how, in the long term, air pollution has been linked to higher rates of cancer, heart disease, stroke, and asthma. In fact, in the US alone, nearly 134 million people, which is over 40% of the population, are at risk of disease and premature death because of air pollution, according to American Lung Association's estimate. Now, I'll finally answer the question that you may be wondering, and that's the solution to this issue, which is my main topic, combating climate change. The first solution that I found was about ending our reliance on fossil fuels. In an article named What Are the Solutions to Climate Change by NRDC on December 13th, 2022, they explain that the single most important thing that we can do to combat climate change is to drastically reduce our consumption of fossil fuels and the burning of coal, oil, and natural gases in our buildings. Industrial processes and transportation is responsible for the vast majority of emissions that are warming the planet more than 75% according to the United Nations. It was also said that according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's special report on global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, that in order to meet the goal of reducing global carbon emissions by at least 45% before 2010 levels, below 2010 levels before 2030, which scientists tell us we must do if we're to avoid the worst and deadliest impacts of climate change. The second solution that I found was to reduce, reuse, and recycle. In a research document about the top 10 climate change solutions by Sustainability magazine on January 14th, 2022, they suggested that choosing items which can last a lifetime reduces the amount of waste. For recycling, they also suggested using recycling schemes makes sure items that can be repurposed don't end up in landfill and reduce the need for raw materials. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something today, and maybe you can use these solutions in your everyday life, like reusing items, recycling. And if you can't really use that in your day-to-day life, I hope that you learn that this is a big issue, and I hope that you can really take to mind that we need to do something about this. And even though we have been working on it as a community, it still needs more work. Thank you.